Welcome to the Crescent City Connection Podcast Fantasy Football Edition. We're going to be talking about fantasy football waiver wire pickups for Week 2. There's a few names we want to talk about on your waiver wire that we think is going to be good for Week 2 and also the rest of the season. Who's y'all's number one waiver wire pickups?
Well, I'm looking at DK Metcalf. I know he's picked up in some leagues, but some leagues he might be a free agent. But DK Metcalf looked phenomenal for the Seahawks.
Mine would be, if you don't have him, Lamar Jackson, obviously. The guy went absolutely off.
Well, most leagues he's not owned.
Exactly. So if you don't have him,
Lamar Jackson, 324 yards, 5 TDs. It was against Miami, and Miami, in my opinion, is tanking. So take it with a grain of salt, but he did go off.
Still, for a player to be labeled as a non-thrower, more of a running quarterback, to go 7 for 7 with 3 TDs in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, he did just the opposite. He didn't run at all. One rush, 6 yards.
He was putting dimes down.
He was staying in the pocket.
Exactly, and also to his receiver, who had a hell of a game, Marquise Brown.
Hollywood
Brown.
Get it right.
My bad. 4 receptions, 147 yards, and 2 TDs. Another waiver pickup. So if that's his favorite receiver, if you want to go 1-2, Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown.
My only thing with that, he only had 5 targets. And he was only in the game on 13 offensive snaps. So in fantasy football, you're trying to get usage. This guy's only out on the field on 13 snaps. It's hard to repeat performances like he just had when you're not getting used very often.
Well, you're making a case.
You got to imagine he's going to get more snaps after a performance like that, though.
True. And like you said, you said DK Metcalf, he only had 5 targets. He had 4 catches
but
on 5 targets.
He was the most targeted wide receiver.
Yeah,
he was targeted over Tyler Lockett?
Tyler Lockett only had 1 reception. He wasn't targeted until the fourth quarter. So,
yeah, I like that. I like that pickup. I mean, I was expecting DK Metcalf to go a lot higher in the draft. I mean, the dude is huge, super fast. He just got to work a little bit on making them routes a little crisper. But, yeah, you got a quarterback like Russell Wilson. He's one of the best in the game. If you can get one of his favorite targets, that could definitely be a key pickup for you.
If you go and look at those highlights for Metcalf, I think Russell Wilson's going to trust this guy a lot. He made some great catches.
And he's a big target, too. He's huge. So he could be like a safety blanket for Russell Wilson. And Doug Baldwin,
he's lacking that now.
He retired, so DK Metcalf could step in and take a lot of what Doug Baldwin was doing. And if you can get Doug Baldwin type stats from DK Metcalf, that's a great pickup. And another quarterback, if you're really searching for a quarterback, I like Josh Allen.
I like Josh Allen too.
I've been high on Josh Allen all offseason. I've been high on the Bills as a whole. And he had a couple turnovers, but 254 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, and he's got you've seen the fourth quarter comeback he had also, so he's clutch. This dude's a gamer, and I mean he was going against a Jets defense. So that Jets defense is pretty stout, so he's going to have easier matchups.
Yeah, he did have 4 turnovers, so that kind of hurt his scoring a good bit.
Yeah, but he still had like 19 points. So because he's giving you the rushing.
Yeah, he's giving the rushing.
And the rushing touchdowns. So, and I mean, that was really, like at the end of last year, he was giving you almost 100 rushing yards a game. So I think when he has some better matchups, he's going to be putting up numbers for you. I mean, he's a better option than I'd say a good bit of quarterbacks in the waiver.
Do you like him better?
Really searching.
Do you like him better than Lamar?
No,
just because I like Lamar Jackson's legs, but I also I don't see Lamar Jackson.
You don't think he's going to continue?
I don't think he's going to do the Patrick Mahomes year like that. No.
Oh no, I don't see it happening at all. I'm probably not going after Lamar Jackson.
But if you want to switch to running backs,
yeah, let's talk about running backs.
Darius Geis went down for Washington. Adrian Peterson's going to be active.
Be the workhorse again now.
But if you want to pick somebody up, it's Chris Thompson.
So you think you'd pick up Chris Thompson over Adrian Peterson, though?
I'd pick them both up just to handcuff them, but Chris Thompson is also the receiving back out of it for PPR leagues.
If Peterson ever goes down, Chris Thompon's never going to take the lead back.
He's not, but he's also the...
So you're talking about a PPR
league. For PPR league, Chris Thompson's a guy to pick up.
He's a great receiver running back.
He's a great receiver running back, and Case Keenum likes him.
I'd say with the injury of Geis, go pick up Chris Thompson. And standard, I'd say go pick up AP. Because AP last year, I mean, people think he's washed up. Over 1,000 yards rushing last year and 7 touchdowns.
He's a good flex player. Got it. Very great flex player. Sometimes a running back 2 spot, depending on the matchup. But he does still have
my watch list. I'm looking at Adrian Peterson hard. It's a key pickup.
Yeah, very much.
Another running back that's definitely on my radar, Ronald Jones.
I was about to say him too.
Ronald Jones, 13 carries for 75 yards and a catch for 18 yards. And they didn't start handing him the ball until after Jameis Winston threw like his 3rd interception. And with Jameis Winston struggling like that, I think they're going to start to lean on the run a little bit more. And this guy looked explosive. They've been high on him all offseason. He had a bad preseason, but this guy's got talent. He was running with a lot of explosiveness. And Peyton Barber, I mean, I think he just got passed up on the depth chart. He's looking very average. And I think with this guy in his 2nd year, they're really looking for him to be the main back. He's my number 1 waiver wire running back.
Second one would probably be Raheem Mostert from 49ers since Tevin Coleman went down. They need another guy with Breida. Yeah. And after Coleman went down, he got 9 carries and 1 receiving catch. So that's 10 touches within a half.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. That's going. 49ers do a 2-headed running back system.
My waiver is currently in for Malcolm Brown for the Rams. I mean, he's pretty much splitting time with Gurley. I mean, he had a good game. 53 yards and 2 touchdowns for 17 points.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be the goal line back.
Yeah, he's getting the goal line
because he had most of the goal line touches. He had the only 2 rushing touchdowns. And going into the year, a lot of people thought that Darrell Henderson, the rookie, was going to be the handcuff to Ty Gurley. But it looks like Malcolm Brown is definitely the guy to have in case Gurley's knee gives out, and if they continue to hold back Gurley and limit his workload.
Yeah, if Gurley gets shut down, Brown is going to be the workhorse, and he's definitely worth having on your roster just in case something happens. Or, I mean, you can even put him in a flex now.
Yeah.
Right away.
Let's move to wide receivers. Who's y'all's number 1 waiver wire pickups at receiver?
John Ross.
That was my number 1 too, especially with A.J. Green down the way he came out.
Yeah, I mean, Boyd's getting a number 1 DB, and Ross just feasted. He had 7 catches for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
against the Seattle defense.
Against the Seattle defense.
It seems like the number 2 receiver on the Bengals always has like solid games lately.
Well, I think that's all over the league. You know, I mean, they don't have to go against.
Yeah, make it a point to shut down a number 1.
Like Juju Smith-Schuster last year was the number 2 with Antonio Brown, and he was putting up crazy stats. Even Michael Gallup for the Cowboys, the number 2 to Amari Cooper. I mean, he's looking great. That actually leads me to he's my number 1 fantasy wide receiver to go pick up. If you don't have Gallup, look, at the end of last year, his targets share started going way up. I mean, he had 7 catches. He had I think over 10 targets.
He was making some nice catches. It wasn't just really curls and everything. He was making some over the shoulder catches. He's very athletic. They were talking very highly of him during that Giants game.
If you're looking at a PPR waiver wire pickup, Jamison Crowder, 14 catches on 17 targets.
Wow.
14 catches on 17 targets for 99 yards.
Thanks for that info, because I didn't know that.
That's who I like to go target when I'm looking at going pick up guys. I'm looking at how much
you're looking for guys with a high floor.
Yeah, for receivers, I want to see how many targets you're getting, and for running backs, how many carries, and how much are you out there? You know, because if your workload is low, the few times you're out there, you're gonna have to perform, and those performances are hard to duplicate. And another receiver I really like is John Brown. Josh Allen's looks like his favorite target. 7 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown versus a Jets defense. Josh Allen finally got him a good deep threat at receiver, and he's definitely looking like a guy that could produce for the rest of the year. Well, let's move to tight end. Who's y'all's number 1 tight end additions?
My number 1 tight end is going back to Baltimore is Mark Andrews.
See, that in my opinion, that's Lamar Jackson's favorite target, and that's going to be his favorite target throughout the year.
Yeah, if you remember last year, he used to throw it he would throw it to the two tight ends, Hurst
Yeah.
and Andrews, the most out of anybody. I believe out of the two, it would be Andrews, and 8 catches for 108 yards.
8 catches on 8 targets.
Exactly. And over 100 yards with a touchdown. They scored 60 points close to it.
Yeah.
So everybody got their share, but 8 targets, that's
a lot.
for a tight end, that's not bad at all.
What you got, Blake, for your tight end waiver wire pickup?
I'm looking at Darren Waller from the Raiders. Cook left last year, so they need a safety blanket for Carr, and he had a pretty good game, 7 receptions and 70 yards. If he adds a touchdown, that's a monster game, but that's a pretty solid performance. 7 catches.
Yeah, 7 catches on 8 targets. This dude's 6'6", big, just like Cook, and he's super athletic. And we all know how Gruden's system is heavy focused on getting the tight end open. So I could definitely see Darren Waller being a great pickup at tight end. My tight end pickup is got to be Vernon Davis. Look, Jordan Reed, this dude's made of glass. If he does come back next week, like they say, he is going to come back. I don't see him staying healthy for very long. And Vernon Davis, every time Jordan Reed is out, has a big game. Like 4 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown versus the Eagles defense. The Eagles secondary is good.
Did you see that hurdle?
That was amazing.
That was an amazing. That's got to be one of the best plays of the week for sure.
And props to him for doing something like that the day after his grandfather's death. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional game for him, and he put on one of his best performances for sure. I don't think we mentioned Jimmy Graham, did we?
Oh yeah, Jimmy Graham had a pretty good game against the Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah.
So
He could get more.
I see him having a bounce back year. Honestly, if he's out there, it's worth the risk to go snatch him.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a huge target in the red zone.
Yeah, well, his one touchdown in that game against the Bears looked a lot like a touchdown when he was with the Saints. They got into the red zone and Rodgers just kind of threw him a jump ball. And that's Jimmy Graham's best.
You think they finally figured out how to use him?
Best skill, yeah.
Let him box out and throw the ball.
Exactly.
He's a basketball player.
And that's a good tight end to have because they're going to be looking at him hard when they get into the red zone. Another tight end I really like, T.J. Hawkinson, tight end for Detroit Lions. 6 catches on 9 targets, 131 yards, and a touchdown versus Arizona. Stafford loves this guy. He was the number 1 tight end drafted this past year. And he's showing why. This dude's explosive. He had a good preseason and week 1 so far. That's a great game. And we'll leave y'all with that.